It's Friday, October 7th, 2022. Clearly, the hope that we saw a few days ago in these markets has completely dried up. Dow Jones closes down 630 points, NASDAQ down 420 points. The 10-year bond yield, as I make this video, sitting at 3.88, the 2-year sitting at 4.31. The hopeism that we saw earlier in the week did not last very long, and many people dreaming and hoping that these markets would recover, well, it was very short-lived. This economy is on life support. This economy is in very, very big trouble. The bubbles in these markets are so overinflated, they're losing air, and this is going to get much, much worse, ladies and gentlemen. And today, just another reminder that nothing is fixed, that things are not going to turn around anytime soon. And really, I don't see how they're going to turn around next year or the year after. We're not producing anything. We're not making anything. We're not innovating. We're not doing anything except printing money, spending money we don't have, going deeper into debt, getting bigger deficits, and we just are going to have a very, very difficult time getting out of this depression. Again, the hopeism is over, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're relying on hope, that is going to be a very, very bad strategy. Let's go over some of the news today. I printed up some articles and I want to share this with you. Unemployment rate falls to 3.5% in September. Payrolls rise by 263,000. This was better than expected. And the good news, as we said yesterday, would be bad news. And of course, today it was very, very bad news because this now green lights the Fed to raise rates yet again. November, we will see a 75 basis point rate hike. I think we should see a higher one, but it will more than likely be 75 basis points. This Fed is still completely behind the eight ball, completely chasing inflation, not getting ahead of it. And I think we're just going to continue to have big problems here because the Fed is not acting aggressively enough. They're still too scared to rock the markets, to rock the housing market. And as long as they think like that, inflation is going to continue to beat down the middle class, beat down the average consumer, and it's going to continue to beat down this economy. I wanted to make a point, and I was thinking about this earlier today, that we're not seeing really any effect with the rise of interest rates other than it's destroying the economy, but it's not doing anything towards fighting inflation. And the reason that is, in my opinion, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, is because inflation is not really 8.3%. And that's why these rate hikes of 50 basis points and 75 basis points, it's not doing anything because real inflation is not 8.3%. It's 17, 18, 20%. And that's why these rate hikes, as many think they're very aggressive and that these are large rate hikes, well, when you have real inflation at 17 to 20%, 50 and 75 basis point rate hikes is not going to do anything. And so I think this is why we're getting the opposite effect in the economy. And we're not getting the effect that we thought we would, or the Fed thought that they would, because they're not taking into account what inflation really is. And when we look at the unemployment number at 3.5%, how many of you believe that number to be accurate? We know how they manipulate the data and how they come to these calculations now. They're not using the same formula that they used back in the 70s and 80s. And so I think that this number is not as accurate as most people think. But again, it gives the Fed the justification now to keep raising rates. Another article today from CNBC. Here's where the jobs are for September 2022. And they broke down where the jobs are out of the 263,000 jobs for September. And of course, no shock, No surprise to any of you, leisure and hospitality led the way with 83,000 jobs. Healthcare and social assistance, 75.4 thousand jobs. Professional and business services, 46,000. Manufacturing, 22,000. I won't go over all of it, but that's the gist of it. Transportation and warehousing jobs, actually negative, 7.9 thousand. But when we break this down, it is the leisure and hospitality sector always leading the way, literally every month. And so one thing we know for sure is we have a lot of bartenders, a lot of waiters, a lot of coffee makers working in America now. And I don't get how we're going to sustain a housing market when most of the jobs every month are in leisure and hospitality. Most of these low paying, low wage, dead end jobs, part-time, most of these jobs in leisure and hospitality, 20-hour work weeks or less, no benefits, no opportunity to climb the stairs into further opportunity. They're dead end jobs. And most people are never going to be able to get ahead. They're never going to be able to buy a house. They're never going to get out of debt with a leisure and hospitality type job in this, a service sector job. Healthcare and social assistance. Many of these, medical assistants, social assistants. These are, again, low paying jobs. And so we're not seeing, manufacturing, 22,000 jobs, that's it. That pretty much tells me we're not making anything in America. And when we look at the manufacturing numbers for September, they were down. If we compared our manufacturing numbers to 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it's staggering how many manufacturing jobs, the millions of jobs we have lost. And we're just not going to sustain being a world superpower. We're not going to sustain a healthy economy. We're not going to sustain a healthy real estate market with these type of jobs. So they may think that this is good news, adding 263,000 jobs, but most of these jobs are part-time, minimum or low-wage jobs, no benefits, dead-end jobs. These are not real careers, but now people are forced to take on these jobs as careers. So very interesting. Let me know your thoughts down below. New cars are finally back in stock, but Americans might not be able to afford them. This on CNBC this morning. So this is great news. The car lots are beginning to get cars. That's great news. But the bad news is now people, with the rise in interest rates, with the rise in inflation, are not going to be able to afford to buy a new car. And the average new car now is $45,921. We spoke yesterday about people buying cars. 14% of people buying cars are paying $1,000 or more on a monthly car payment. That's absolutely incredible to think about what people are paying now. 14% of new car buyers paying $1,000 or more a month. But the majority of people today don't have to worry about that because they're not going to be able to afford a new car, period. And the reason for that is, again, inflation and the rise of interest rates. I think right now the average interest rate on a new car is 5.7%, up from 4.3% last year. So this is really putting a lot of pressure on people. And we did a video a few days back talking about all the Ford Super Duty trucks out there at the Kentucky Speedway, 40, 50 plus thousand Super Duties, valued at 80,000 plus on average. So you have over $3 billion of inventory of trucks sitting there rotting away in the sun, in the rain. What are they going to do with all of these trucks? And what are they going to do now that people are getting priced out, can't afford the higher interest rates, don't have the disposable income, just can't make it happen? And of course, people's credit is being decimated daily now too, as they're becoming late on credit cards, late on their car payments, they're being evicted out of apartments, they're not paying their utility bills. How do they qualify to buy a new car, a new truck? And what are the automakers going to do with the piles of inventory that are sitting in parking lots all over the country without chips? And when do they get the chips? Next year, the year after? These cars that come to the auto lots will be 1 or 2 years old. So how does that all work out? Love to know your thoughts on that. Here's another one from CNBC. AMD shares fall more than 13% on weak outlook. Here's another indicator of the US economy. And AMD is telling you that it does not look good, as they're down 13% today. Year to date, AMD down 61%. They blame it on slumping PC demand. They're blaming it on supply chain issues. And I blame it on a very, very sick, dying economy. Tech is absolutely being destroyed at this point. Intel today was down 5.37%. Year to date, Intel down 51%. NVIDIA down 8% today, down 59% year to date. Again, tech absolutely being destroyed. Now, I want to change it up here for a little bit. This comes from Fox Business, and I was watching this on the news last night. Rite Aid may place all store items in showcases due to theft in New York City. And when I watch news clips of this, and I see the stores being robbed by these flash mobs and these large groups of people coming in and just destroying the store, laughing, taking whatever they want, and just having a good time doing it, just destroying somebody's job, somebody's career. And of course, we all pay for that because insurance goes up, the price of the items go up. And now they want to lock everything up in showcases. So that's going to make everything so inconvenient. When you need to go buy something, you need somebody to unlock the case to get it out. And I wanted to talk about this today because we talk so much about preparing, and especially financially. We talk about putting food and water away and having, a tourniquet, having a trauma kit, having training, having a skill set, etc. And a lot of people, when I watch videos, they talk about similar things, but I've noticed that a lot of people don't talk about the real issues of what are you going to do when you have to deal with something like this. Are you prepared to deal with something like this? Because it doesn't always just go to a Rite Aid or a Walgreens or a Walmart. What happens when this comes to your house? Are you prepared to deal with it? Or are you just going to allow your home to be ransacked and everything you've worked for and earned with your blood and sweat and all that hard work, are you just going to allow somebody to come and take it? Maybe you will, but there's people out there that will not, and I'm one of those people. I truly believe in being able to defend myself, defend my home, my family, my assets, everything I worked hard for, everything I love, everything I believe in. It's such a violation to just think somebody can come into your house and take whatever they want. But a lot of people make these videos, and they love to talk about what you should be buying, what you should be doing, how many cans of beans you should have, how many bottled waters you should have, etc. But they never talk about the reality of what happens when somebody wants to come to your house and take that can of beans. What are you going to do about it? And these are things right now that you need to be critically thinking for yourself. Do you have a plan? Do you have the mindset? Do you have the training? Now, here's another one coming from the Daily Mail today. And I watched this yesterday all over the news. Many of you have probably seen this. This knifeman who killed 8 people on the Las Vegas Strip yesterday. I think it was about 11:30 a.m. 11:30 in the morning. Think about that. I believe he killed 2 showgirls, 6 other people, stabbed a couple other showgirls. What a nightmare to think about. Here you are in Las Vegas walking down the Strip, and some psychopath pulls out a knife and starts randomly stabbing people, slashing people, killing 2. What would you do? What would you do? I mean, this is happening every day. When you see the amount of violence out there and just the demonic activity, what would you do? What would you do if it came to your home? What would you do if you were at the mall today? You were down at the Las Vegas Strip. You were just walking down the sidewalk, walking down some at some shopping center, walking around at a Walmart, and something like this took place. What would you do? And we all have to really begin to get in a mindset so that we are not a victim of this. I was watching a show the other day, and they were talking about how criminals pick out their prey, and they do it by how people walk. They can tell if you're a victim just by the way you walk and the way you carry yourself. And when I see the amount of people walking around on their phones with their heads down, slouched over, just completely walking like zombies, just hypnotized by their phone. That right there, I'm sure a predator looks at that and goes, that's my next victim. They don't have any situational awareness. They have no idea what's going on. And those are the type of people that these criminals look for. If you walk weak, if you don't carry yourself properly, you don't have the confidence, you don't have the mindset, these people are watching you. And you have to be so careful out there. And this is why I want everybody to prepare, not just physically, or not just financially, not just with a can of beans, but physically. You need to get physically in better shape. You need to get stronger. You need to be more aware of your environment. You have to be ready, ladies and gentlemen, because this evil can strike at any time. And again, so many people warning you, you better have the can of beans, you better have the water, you better have some silver coins. That's wonderful. But if you cannot protect any of this stuff, you cannot protect your own life, what good is it? Because somebody will just take it. They will take your life. And so I would like to see people out there, if they're really walking the walk, really doing something about their physical health, their mindset, and their tool set, and their training, and their skill set, and how they're going to deal with violence. And most of them aren't going to deal with violence. They're going to be victims too. They're going to roll over, and they're going to lose everything that they thought was theirs. So don't be one of these people. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to be walking the walk mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially right now. Here's another one. U.S. emergency oil supply shrinks to 40-year low as the administration keeps tapping reserve. This is a threat to our national security. Yesterday, I paid $7.19 for super unleaded gas out here. I've talked about this many, many times. With what is happening now around the world geopolitically, to be just using and depleting our petroleum reserves like this at an alarming rate at this time, for this reason, to push gas prices down a little bit, what a huge, huge mistake and such a threat to our national security. And yet prices, we saw oil up today, I think about $4, as OPEC now is going to be cutting 2 million barrels a day. And they know they can do this now because we're not doing anything, we're not producing anything here, and we're depleting our reserves. And so this is going to put more pressure on prices. They're going to go up, and it's really jeopardizing the safety and security of this nation. The hedge today, things are starting to move fast. FedEx tumbles after pre-announcing dismal results for second time in 2 weeks. Year to date, FedEx down 40%. They said, we expect there to be a downward adjustment to volume forecast. Paul Melander, a FedEx Ground senior vice president, said in a message to the unit's delivery contractors earlier this week, these changes will reflect the latest information from customers about how they anticipate current conditions and are likely to decrease the volumes over the holiday season. So they're expecting, obviously, the holiday season to slow down. And this is another economic indicator telling you and I that the holiday season is going to look very, very dismal. CNBC, Bitcoin drops below 20,000. Binance blockchain hit by $570 million hack. If you don't hold it, you do not own it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see so much digital crime take place, so much crime. We're looking at violent crime. We're looking at digital crime, cyber crime. We're going to see so much taking place, and there are going to be people just trying to take advantage of people in these times. People are looking now. They're desperate. They're trying to make money. They're going to invest in things. They're going to lose it all. They're going to buy things that aren't real. They're going to lose it all. They're going to buy into Ponzi schemes. They're going to lose it all. People now are getting so desperate, and they're going to take what they have, and they're going to try to double down and make some quick money, and they're going to lose. There are so many con artists out there right now, and people are they're at a point now where they're just trying to hang on. They're desperate. They need to make some money, and they're going to take risk. This is not the time to take risks. This is the time to be extremely defensive and not gamble. These are the times where the criminals really, really come out, and we're going to see a lot more Ponzi schemes. We're going to see a lot more people suckered into the markets. We're going to see people selling more fake Rolexes, more fake coins, and more fake dreams. And so you have to be aware of this. So I think this is really the time to hunker down, get really, really defensive, not speculate, not gamble. And I'll close with this last article in The Hedge. The administration welcomes Venezuela oil as they prepare to block all U.S. offshore drilling. Now, in this article, it says that we are willing, or the administration is willing, to ease sanctions on Venezuela for more oil. Now, domestic oil producers at this point are considered more evil than oil producers in Venezuela. That's where we're at today. And I'm not here to get political. I'm not taking any side, but we're here to get financial. We're here to get economic information. We're here to talk about the data. And this to me makes no sense whatsoever, especially somebody like myself who just paid $7.19 yesterday for a gallon of super unleaded. And yet we will ease sanctions for a country that supposedly we don't like very much to get more oil from them, yet we won't ease sanctions on our own people who need jobs here, who need to drill and frack, and in return produce cheaper, cleaner gasoline. These people are considered more evil. I don't get it. I really, really don't. But it's the sign of the times. It's where we're at today, ladies and gentlemen. And as I leave you on this beautiful Friday afternoon, take some time this weekend and add to your preparations, add to your training, add to your skill sets. Take a look at where you're at, where are the weak links, what can you add to strengthen up those preparations? Is it food? Is it water? Is it gear? Is it a trauma kit? Is it a tourniquet? Is it better shoes? Is it a couple extra pair of jeans, matches, propane, knives, whatever it may be? Maybe it's just getting out, doing a little bit of training. Maybe it's getting out, doing a couple hours at the gym this weekend. Maybe it's going out, getting a good run. Maybe it's taking a little bit of time and praying to God and asking for direction, guidance, and strength, and thanking God for another day of life and thanking God for everything He has given us. Maybe it's a great weekend to spend some time with family and friends and just bond. Maybe it's a good weekend to just go out and spend some time in nature and just appreciate what God has given us. Do something productive this weekend. Stay on path. Markets absolutely clobbered again today. These markets are warning us that things are broken. It's going to get much worse. So stay safe. Continue to prepare, ladies and gentlemen. And I look very, very forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon. God bless.